whether you knit, weave or crochet, you are essentially creating fabric. And the building blocks of that fabric is yarn, and as hand spinners, the raw material for those building blocks is fibre. The way we combine the fibres, whether it's different colours or textures or types of fibre, will determine the way the final fabric looks. So in the second part of my mini-series on world yarns, I'll be looking at two-ply, the way we can use the different colours and different textures to create very different looking end results, i.e. end fabrics. If you're new here, my name is Becca. I'm a hand spinner, knitter and newbie weaver, and you're very welcome to my echoey conservatory in my home in West Wales. First of the series we looked at 3-plies, and now I'm going to look at 2-plies. And a Marl yarn, in case you didn't see the first one, I will link it at the end of the video, is where you use two different coloured singles, ply them together to create a variegated yarn. A 3-ply has lots more variegation than a 2-ply, rather obviously, but classically we do see the 2-ply, particularly in yarn shops, and we think of it as the barber shop pole yarn or a barber pole yarn, and quite often they can be very high contrast. So I've got some samples and I'm going to show you those in a moment, but what I'm ultimately going to be looking at is how we can use complementary colours. That means that colours are opposite each other on the colour wheel, and what sort of yarns we can create from that. So my first example is a 2-ply made with Welsh mountain sheep. It's quite hairy and I used it for weaving a rug. And what I did was I took the black or very dark brown Welsh mountain sheep fleece and a white or undyed cream coloured, and spun two singles, plied them together, and you can see how they look knitted up. You do get a variation, and there's a bit of a marbled look to it, bit of variegation, not in the same way as a 3-ply does. It is less subtle than the 3-ply, but you still get a nice variegated yarn. What happens when you ply a white and a black or a cream and a dark brown together is that you'll get some patches that are going to look quite sort of oatmeal-y or sort of lighter browns, and that's the way that the eye sees the two plies together. And I was listening to a podcast, the Long Thread Media podcast, which I will link in the description, and as a physicist turned knitwear designer and all-round genius when it comes to knitting, and she was saying that it's probably the photons. And I was like, okay, this sounds like it's going to get very sciencey, not entirely sure I can cope with this. However, the way she described it made a lot of sense, in that the eye sees the different photons coming off, which is what colour is made out of, coming off each different yarn, and they sort of mix them together. So in the way that colours can look completely different in daylight to under a light inside, is the same way that you sort of almost get, I suppose it's a reflection of the light. I don't know. Anyway, somebody who's more scientific than me will no doubt know exactly what photons are, and that probably makes a lot of sense to you. But it sort of made sense to me, and I was like, yeah, I see that. I can see that's how that works. So the neighbour's dog has started barking. I think it's stopped now. Okay, so one of the things that she recommends, and I really recommend as well, is sampling. And I think if you are somebody who is not used to working with colours, maybe you're a new hand spinner, or maybe you've made rather a lot of muddy colours, I think we've all been there, then sample, 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 and just have lots of little samples of colours and just keep those. And I've got lots of little knitted up samples of how these colours look together. So another way to get variegation in our yarns is to use different styles of fibres together. And what I mean by that is I've got a little sample knitted up here, and I have one single that was long draw, and it was castle milk moret that had a little bit of sample left on a bobbin, and I plied it with Gotland, which is very sort of grey and silvery, completely different yarn, completely different, and high in lustre, as the castle milk is very downy and it doesn't reflect the light in the same way. Crimp is completely different, and I'd spun the Gotland in a worsted style, so they're totally different. However, plied together, they make a really interesting fabric. As I am very fond of saying, there are no spinning pulleys. So actually, if you want to have two different plies of two different fibres, why not? Why not just go for it? Sample it. If you hate the way it looks, well, you just don't do that again, do you? But I really like the way this looked. So my next sample is some weaving. And this is a Marl yarn, very much thicker and chunkier. And that creates a very different look. You don't get the same variegation, you don't get the same sort of marbled effect when the yarn is much, much thicker. You get much more of a sort of blocky, patchy look. That might be something you want. I think it looks pretty good as weaving. I am less keen on it as knitting. So one of the things we have to bear in mind is that the thicker your single, the less you're going to get that marbling effect. So when I was working with the 3-ply in the last video, they were quite fine, and so you were getting much more of a marbled effect. With these thicker yarns, I think you get less of that marbling, and so in the next in the series, I'm going to do another 3-ply, and I'm going to spin that very fine, but as I say, that is for the next video. I think one of the things we also have to talk about when we're talking about these variegated yarns, these Marl yarns, is a heathered yarn, and that is quite different. So a heathered yarn, you actually blend the colours and the fibres together and ply them against each other. So you still have that variegation, so you have different colours within one ply, but you ply it with a similar variegated single. I hope that makes sense, as these Marl yarns are very much distinct. You get either one light, one dark, or as we're going to have a look at in this video, we're going to have complementary colours. Okay, so let's talk about complementary colours. What do I mean by a complementary colour? If you are unfamiliar with complementary colours, something you haven't done since school maybe, something you haven't thought about, I do recommend a colour wheel. This one is getting a bit old and faded, but on here, and I will link this particular one in the description, it has a little arrow and you line them up, and the colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel are complementary colours. So one of the things that we can do with our complementary colours is we don't actually have to use the true colour. So red and green are opposite each other on the colour wheel. They are complementary colours, but a very strong red and a strong green, or a true red and a true green, could look quite overwhelming. It could really be an assault on the eyes. And maybe that's something you want. Maybe you wanted it to look quite Christmassy, and you could definitely do that, but it would make a very bold statement. So what we can do is use tints, tones and shades of complementary colours to give us something a little more subtle. So we could use green and pink, and use a sort of a mint green and a light pink, or a dusty green and a dusty pink, and that would give us something that was not quite so bold and quite a sort of assault on the senses. I am going to make something that is an assault on the senses, something really bold, really bright, and I am going for a turquoise and an orange. And if we have a look on our colour wheel, blue, green and red, orange are opposite each other on the colour wheel, so they are complementary colours. So before I show you the end results, I just have a little request. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. The majority of what I do on this channel is fibre arts, it's spinning, it's knitting, it's particularly natural dyeing. I do use acid dyes, but mostly it's natural dyeing. And the occasional vlog and other things mixed in from time to time, but it's mostly hand spinning. If you have any questions about today's video, put them in the comments below. If I don't know the answer, then we do have some really experienced hand spinners in the community, and they will always jump on and answer the question if I can't. Lastly, if you have any particular videos that you'd like to see on the channel, just let me know and I'll try and work them into videos that I'm going to record over the next few months. The next video in this mini series is going to be another 3-ply, and we're going to be looking at split complementaries, and fingers crossed that will be out in a week's time. Obviously, if you're watching this kind of after I've put it out, then it'll be in the playlist. So I will link the playlist at the end of this video. I think you can see that that is really, really bold. However, I definitely think it's usable in a design. If it's a little bold for you, then just use tints, tones and shades, and that will completely change it. There is no substitute for sampling. So if you are experimenting with Marl yarns, I'd really recommend that you actually do lots of samples and lots of experimenting and keep them for reference, so that the next time you're thinking, oh, that design would look great in a Marl yarn, you've got lots of reference material to go back to and see how it looks. But it's always really interesting to look at the yarn and the knitted fabric against your fibre, and just to see how spinning it and then plying it together actually changes it. It really concentrates the colour, because we've got lots of air and lots of light reflecting off these fibres because they're not dense. This was spun worsted, so it's quite a dense spin. And also it's a sort of, I would say, yeah, I haven't actually done wraps per inch, but it's probably somewhere between a double knit and an Aran, which is kind of where I quite often spin. So you see, it looks very different to what I spun last week, which has ended up same sort of weight, but the singles were much, much finer. And we've got those tints, tones and shades, which makes a much more subtle fabric, and the design waves through it. This is quite blocky. So I think you can see that by changing the tones, by changing whether it's a 2-ply or a 3-ply, you get a very different look. So until next time, may your needles be swift and your yarns be soft.